What's up guys? Today we're going to check out 1993's Jurassic Park on 4K Blu-ray again. I'm not here to talk about how good or bad this movie is, I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the audio and video quality. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot on film. It's got a 4K DI, it's rated PG-13. Runtime is 127 minutes, aspect ratio is 185:1, and the audio gets a brand new Dolby Atmos mix. Now before we take a look at the audio and see how active this mix is, if you don't know what the Dolby Atmos viewer is, you can find a link down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where to get it. You can also find a list of all the gear that I use for these 4K reviews down there as well. So I reviewed this movie 7 years ago when it first hit 4K disc in DTS-X. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I gave the movie a 9 for audio. I don't know why, but it's definitely not a 9. Sorry spare change, but yeah, got that one wrong. Now, I did a couple comparisons with a few different scenes. The most popular one, I think, is the ripples in the water, which is around the 1 hour, 1 minute mark. If you're running the older DTS-X track without Neural X upmixing, I found the volume to be relatively the same with the Atmos mix. If you want to squeeze out a couple of more channels, then using the Neural X upmixer on the DTS-X mix is going to drop the overall volume by a few decibels. That said, comparing the scenes, the Dolby Atmos version is locked in a 7.1.2 configuration, meaning if you're running with 6 top channels, only the top middle channels will produce any sounds. If you have 4 top channels, then all 4 will play sounds. Now since I have 6 tops, you're going to see only the 2 top middles in this video. The DTS-X version is in a 9.1.4 configuration, so if you're playing back with 6 top channels, then the middle row won't produce any sound. However, if you are using Neural X upmixing, then you can have all 6 top channels along with the center surround become active. I did not use any upmixing for this video. So in this scene, you can see that the DTS-X version has wide channels that are active, while there is some light extension to the back speakers. The Atmos version never uses the wide channels and the back speakers barely come on. So for this particular scene, I'd have to give DTS-X the win. Next, at 1 hour 10 minutes while Newman is trying to get paid, we can see that the Atmos version has active height channels which kick in every time the thunder cracks right above your head, while the DTS-X version does not do this. Neural X also doesn't put anything up top, so using the upmixer is not going to help out this scene. At 1 hour 15 minutes when Dr. Grant is climbing up the tree, you'll hear raindrops hitting the leaves above your head, while the DTS-X version remains non-existent. And this happens quite a lot during the course of the movie. The Atmos version just has better overall immersion. So even though you do get wide channels in the DTS-X version, which is really nice, it's not going to give you the bubble of sound type of feeling that you get with the Dolby Atmos mix. Now, I did notice one thing that was very obviously off. At roughly 1 hour 19 minutes in, you've got Malcolm, Ellie, and the other guy looking to the right side of the screen to where the T-Rex lets out this really loud growl. On the Atmos version, they look right while the T-Rex growls in the back top right side of the room. In the DTS-X version, everybody's looking right while the T-Rex is in the top left side of the room. So I don't know if this was originally supposed to be on the left side of the room, but it makes more sense that the T-Rex is growling on the right side of the room because everybody is looking to the right. Now going back to the T-Rex stomping, neither DTS-X or Dolby Atmos digs particularly low for this water rippling scene in the glass shot. I could be mistaken, but I think the old DTS mix went down to 20 Hz, which with in-room extension will give you some infrasonics, but it's totally missing on both of these, so you won't get that heavy room pressurization. That said, there's still a ton of heavy hitting bass around 40 to 50 Hz. The T-Rex stomping on the ground will give you plenty of chest pounding kick, and all of the other action scenes will have more than enough tactile bass. I didn't think there was a big difference bass-wise between the two, but the DTS-X version seemed like it was maybe a dB hotter than the Atmos version. If I wasn't going back and forth between the two, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was which.
That is one big pile of shit.
As for video quality, I'd say that this new remaster is marginally better than the older 4K. It is in Dolby Vision, whereas the older disc was in HDR10. Colors were noticeably cooler in some shots, whereas in the older 4K, the same shots leaned more warmish. while other times they looked almost exactly the same, and the detail also seemed a touch better with less of that DNR smeary look to it. So there were sharper, more defined edges with better discernible detail. Some shots could pass for a really good-looking 4K movie, while other times I'd say it looks more like a mid-level 1080p Blu-ray with the occasional shot that looks like a really good 1080p Blu-ray. There's still marks and scratches in the transfer itself, so they didn't go back and try to cover those up. There is a very faint layer of film grain throughout this, so if they did use any noise reduction, it wasn't as strong as it was on the older 4K transfer. The CG did look decent at times, while other times it just looked straight up blurry. The colors can suffer in some of these CG shots, crushing blacks and sometimes looking muddy, while the rest of the movie contrast levels looked great in Dolby Vision, making specular highlights extremely bright while keeping a nice level of shadow detail intact. I didn't totally hate the older 4K transfer, but this new one does look better. So if you are a fan of this movie, this one would be the way to watch it. I'm gonna go with a 7.8 for video. Audio-wise, I think the soundstage is a bit more detailed with that extra extension to the top channels, giving the movie a bigger sense of space. Having wide channels is nice on the DTS-X mix, but I'll take the extra effects up top. Even while using Neural X to upmix DTS, there were still sounds in the top channels in the Atmos version that just are never going to be there in the DTS-X mix using the Neural X upmixer. Bass was pretty much the same between the two, but it is the added sense of space with the Atmos top channels, which makes this Atmos version the better one, at least for me. I'm gonna go with an 8.2 for audio. So what are your thoughts on this new 4K transfer of Jurassic Park? Have you seen it, and which one do you prefer, the old one or the new one? Leave your comment down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to grab this movie, I will leave some links for it down below in this video's description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content or great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you again in the next video.